Week 14 of Journaling with Intention. And if you've been following along on Journaling with Intention, you'll notice that we skipped a couple of weeks. And so we're back at it. And I hope you have had a lovely time. Let me know in the chat how you've been doing. It's so nice to see you here. So I am Amy Hill. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we started in January because of those pesky New Year's resolutions, and they never seem to stick. And so I thought, what might help is if every week we kind of check in, see how we're doing, and use all of those craft supplies that we have been working on, and we actually, put them to other use. And that way we can stretch our supplies and see what it is that we got. So let me know if you're here. Go ahead and throw that in the chat. Hey, Tina. Hi, Alicia. And good morning. Yeah, good afternoon to you, Alicia. I hope that you are doing well. We are getting a lot of rain here, but I'm sure you're still getting some snow where you are. And let me know how your week was. I would love to know. Mine was good. I had a good break, and definitely this is our week to set up May. So we have this next month coming up. So we're going to set up this week, and then we're going to set up next month as well. So kind of think about those intentions. This is a great opportunity to take that hour, take some time for yourself, and reflect back on you and what you want and what you're looking for. So that's what we do every week. So I'd love for you to join us. Let me know, share this out. If this has been helpful for you, share this out and invite people to join in. We meet every Sunday at 3:00 Eastern time, and it's been really helpful. So hi, Melly. I hope you're doing well. And Alicia, this is birthday month. Yay. Hey, Ann. And Tina is here. And I'm so glad you guys are here. And I'm going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to do. So please share this out. It'd be super great. Invite some people in, because if you haven't been doing this with us, this is an excellent time to jump in, because we're going to be setting up for the next month. All right. So let me go ahead and turn on down to my, here we go. All right, so this is my book. This was last week's, and I'm just kind of showing you that I made for myself, I made an effort, or I kind of like said, you know what, I really gotta get back to tracking. And so it was something that I did, and I don't do well when there's things that I need a lot of routine in my life. So it's not always that super great. So this kind of helped me to put some routine in. And I agree, Alicia, May is great. It's a great month. And it's kind of nice to have that opportunity to get it all set up. So I'm going to set up next week. So this is the last week in April. And it kind of jumps a little bit into May. I forgot to go and check what all of those dates are. I should know this already. Oh yeah, so it goes right to the 30th. So we're going to do the 30th, and then we're going to set up our little May time. All right, so that is the 24th to the 30th. All right, and we're going to set up, and we'll set up our May chart just so we can have some other things to do. All right, so I have to say I am not liking this new layout that I've done. So I'm actually going to go back to the layout that I was using before, because I think I like this a lot better. So I'm going to go back to this because I think I like this a little bit more. And I really liked having this section where I was kind of able to go out on my walks and kind of see the flowers that are coming up, because that's something that is really nice. So I added that little spring thing and what has sprung in the garden. So I'm going to add that into my tracker as well. I did like this little quote, but it's also on the side. So I'm going to go back to my quote being this way. And I still liked my exercise and my water and my mood tracker. So I'm going to keep those. This I need to change because this is not making me happy. So I don't want to keep that this time. All right. So I'm going to set out this month. And as it's finally in the springtime, I grabbed some other washi tape that I had laying down. And I found this one, which was really cute. And this one has these little flowers and birds. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So that's when, and your gardenia, of course you have gardenias, Tracy, where you are. Not up here so much, I have to say. Not up here. Well, you can grow them, but they're annuals where I live. Gardenias. Beautiful smell, though. Absolutely beautiful smell. All right, so I'm just setting this up So I have that border. So I have that little border here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put that off. So pretty. Love that little border. Woo. And I'm going to add a similar color. I'm just going to pick up one of these colors. And I'm going to go ahead and just put this down. So I think I'm going to grab the blue. This is another one that I found. Where do I have these? No idea. And I'm just going to go ahead and separate out this page so it's right in the middle. Aboutish. And we're all about the aboutish on this one. Oh boy, we got some good. May is a good month in this group. That is awesome. For me, my May gets a little crazy. I got a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of events. You guys might have events too, besides birthdays. We start getting into wedding seasons and graduations. And this month gets a little crazy, I think, for a lot of people. You know, finalizing summer vacations, if it's summer where you are, but a couple of those things. So this is for me, like it's always a month about trying to be as organized as possible, because I feel like that does not happen. All right. This was very, very far off. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to get that straighter, because this was not straight at all. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use a nice bright blue. So we are in our last month of April. So we are at April 24th through the 30th. I cannot believe it. It's awesome. Yes, I know. It's a crazy month, end of school. So this is always that time that I got to be like very, very organized, or else I really will miss something. All right. So I'm going to grab my little trusty color swatches stencil. And I do like this because of the fact that it really does a nice job organizing each of the things. And I'm going to grab gray just to kind of put those boxes in. So like I said, I'm going back to that original layout because I think I just liked it better. The new layout was a little bit too much going on. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm just using the color blocking stencil, the color swatches stencil, and I'm just creating a section of 2 boxes for each of the days. One of them is for me to actually write the date in, and the other one is for me to write in the things I want to remember about that day. There we go. And I will go ahead and just write all of those in a moment once I get all of this set up. Now, one of the things that I've been tracking is I like to track what I'm eating for dinner, because that's something that varies. And I actually want to create like a recipe list of the things that the family really enjoys. Because I'm always, every single week, I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, I don't know what to get, or I'm not sure what to buy. And so it's easier a little bit if I meal plan it. And so this is a way for me to meal plan, is I can actually put in what those things are in there ahead of time. So if I kind of track that, that's going to be great. And then I can have in my book a list of recipes, or I can use a separate book to actually plan out what each of my recipes are. And so what I want to do is I want to track that, but then I also want to track things like, what did I do that day, and other kinds of things. So I'm actually going to use my little trusty tiny ruler, and I'm going to make a little line. So I'm just about to put these in half. So these are about 3 centimeters. So no, it's not. It's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4. 4 centimeters. So I'm just going to put that right in the middle. And I'm just going to go ahead and put lines through them. So that way I now have 2 places to mark down. So again, same thing, 4. And just going to mark that. And then 4. So I'm just going to mark that. And that just gives me 2 places. Don't know what I'm having for dinner tonight. Does anybody know? I love some ideas. I always need dinner ideas. Always, always, always need dinner ideas. All right, and then I'm just going to come in with that bright blue and just go ahead and put in my days. And I'll go ahead and write in April after this. All right, so that's all of my days. So now I'm all set up here. Ooh, chicken Alfredo, that's a good idea. Yeah, I agree, Tina. I felt like April was a little tough too. I think it's always that transition time, you know. Oh, Tracy, I agree. Like, I think it's always that transition time. And I'm going to do that with May too, is just be very intentional. And I made that when I like this little section of that looking backward to move forward. Use that each week, because that's really helpful to think about what you want your intentions to be for the following week or even the following month. And like I said, this is kind of a time to set up that May. And April was kind of a long month. I will say that. I will absolutely say that. And I lost my ruler. Here it is. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to set up a little box. It's not going to be too big. In fact, I'm going to go right here with it. And what I want to do with this box is it's going to help me to set up, hey, what happened this month? It just gives you that moment of reflection to help you to set things up. All right. And coming along right here. There we go. And so I use this to say, looking backward to move forward. And that's how oh, Tina, I'm glad you're back. Vegan chili. Oh, that's a great idea, Tracy. We've been doing some minestrone soup. We've been doing some like slow cooker recipes, and those have been great because I'm not home. And so it's just nice to kind of like set it and forget it and kind of move on with it. That's been really, really helpful. All right, so I have my page where I'm going to pretty much be marking down what I'm eating, what I'm going to be doing each day. That's going to be here. And then on this side, I'm going to go ahead and put in my 2 things. So I'm going to go back to using my embellish. And you can see I already set this up. And I have this new one that's turquoise. And I apologize for the wrapping because I didn't unwrap it. So I'm going to do that down here. I think we need to get a recipe book between us, don't we? With kind of the recipes that we got. That would be helpful. I am always digging. Always, always, always digging for stuff. All right, so I'm just going to grab this, pulling the clear out, and I'm just going to put this one in. So this is turquoise blue and white. Thought that would be kind of pretty. And that's it. All right, so this one I am putting font size. Okay. All right, I am saying habit tracker, right? Habit tracker. I love this because it's done. I don't have to worry about it. It's done. And done. And I think it's a little bit smaller than what I usually do, but I have an idea for that. So I'm going to grab this little, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I have this washi that I don't use, so I'm going to use it because that is my goal, to try to use up what I have. Somebody gave it to me free because they were like, I don't use it. I'm like, okay. So it's little chevron. I've used the green one. I have a green one, and then this is a blue one. And it's a little chevron one. It's kind of cute. And I'm going to go ahead. Yes, cookbook. Right, Tracy? That would be cute to have like a little cookbook between us. I think that'd be pretty neat. All right. Let me cut that there. All right, so I'm going to take this and just unpeel it. Not all the way, just part of the way, because I want some of it to not... This is very thin, this stuff. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just washi it right here. Oh, I think it's going to live there because that's what it made a decision to do. Okay, so it made a decision to live there. I'm going to be okay with that decision, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right off. Okay, that's cute, right? So cute. Is that? Oh yeah, blue. Yeah. Good call, Tracy. Good call. All right, now I'm going to get my little habit tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this off. And I'm going to go ahead and put this sucker on. So this is the one that I pulled off, but it wasn't long enough for what I needed. So I'm just adding it in. So we're layering washi. That's what we're doing here, kids. We're layering washi and stickers. There we go. So cute. All right. Don't really feel like I need to track my water. I think I've been doing pretty good with that. So I'm actually going to move away, believe it or not. I'm moving away from tracking water. I do want to put in my tracking that I'm doing down here. I do want to do my exercise minutes. So that's going to be over here. So I just make my little graph. And this here is exercise minutes. So this is just my little title. And putting my days of the week. And over here, I got my 15 minutes. And again, this is 0. So then all I'm doing is just looking at what the half is, which is approximately right here. Half of 15 is 7.5. And that's my exercise tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in blue. Okay, that's exercise time. And then on this side, I'm going to think about this because I actually wanted to do stretching, but I'm not sure what I want to do over there because I want to have it be a graph, something that I actually track. Over here, I really enjoyed having the flowers. So I'm going to put that in again, but I'm not going to do this. That was a lot. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this up. And I'm going to create a little section of lists. And these are what are the things that are flowering in my yard. And it's always good for yourself if you have your own yard or even if you have a little garden where you're talking about seed times or plant times. It's good to track this year to year, especially if you're planting. So that way you have an idea of when it is to put stuff in. Typically where I live, we're not allowed to plant anything in the ground before May, like the middle of May, because we have something called fear of frost. There's still an idea that there's possible frost. I'm kind of thinking that given climate changes that have been happening for a while, that day may be not working anymore. It might, but it's a good idea that if you have that information and you can track it, then you really will know. There we go. So what I've just done is this is my little mood tracker. So now I'm going to come up here and this is going to be my little mood tracker. I do this each week. It's been very helpful. Probably the one thing I think that I have really needed and used a lot is this mood tracker. It's something that I've used to communicate with my doctors. 24. Even if I do nothing, I really try to do this because it kind of gives me a little snapshot of what happened that entire week. And so that's been really, really a helpful thing. All right, so over here, I'm going to do this one in green. This is going to be my plant tracker. Plant blooming. And this is just where I'm going to write out a list of putting all these ideas in. I think I'm going to stay with the water. I'll put that in because I don't have another idea. And I have a section and I can't leave that blank. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in my water tracker over here on this side. These graphs are fabulous because you can see a range and change in time. So they've been really, really great. So Monday, Tuesday, really super easy. I'm all about the visuals that you can track something very quickly and get a snapshot and an idea of exactly what's going on. It's also a good idea to see. It helps you to see. So if you're trying to do any sort of changes or make any sort of changes, this is going to be helpful with that. All right, 80 ounces. So half of that is 40. All right, so yeah, that's a good idea, Tracy. And that's something that I've kind of been doing is I've been putting in like my emotional and I've been putting in my like anything physical that's going on. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. So I could actually just make like a line down here, but I just write it in and have a little bit of extra room if I need to put it in. All right, so that is my week all set up. And it feels good. I like all the flowers and it kind of feels nice to have that done. So I'm going to move over to setting up May. And I know technically next week is our first week of May, but I thought it would be nice to take a moment to set it up now so you can think about it and think about that start of May. And like I had said before, if you haven't joined us and this is your first time or you've kind of gotten off of the doing the journaling and you want to get back into it, this is a really great opportunity to do that because it sets you up. It's kind of that new month. It's your fresh, it's nice and fresh and everything. So what I wanted to do to work on May was to actually do a little bit of washi. I know when we've set up these months before, just to kind of remind us what we've done is we've done die cuts, and we've done stenciling, and I put these little tabs in to kind of help. And we did stamping for March. So I did those stamping using those hearts in order to make, there's my other chevron washi. And then for April, when we did April, we did some stenciling. So I did that butterfly stencil and added some washi in. So just to kind of have these nice little cover sheets. So I'm going to do the same thing here, but what I wanted to do is because I wanted something really springy and floral. And so I'm going to use some washi. And I'm like, what washi do I have that really is great? And Tracy, yeah, I was, it's such a good idea to have both of the physical and the mood. And I didn't realize that and that's why I've been, as I'm doing these journals, I'm changing them. I'm not stuck to, and I hope you're not stuck to one method or one anything, because as you kind of change, you yourself change, go ahead and change the way you're tracking things, change what you're tracking. And I think that's nice about having the versatility of these blank books. Because I used to use journals that were pre-printed for me, and then I would get so stuck because I'm like, I don't want to use it like that anymore. I want to switch it up and I want to change it. So I encourage you guys to do that as well. Is, what's working, use it. What's not working, toss it, because it's not helping you, because we all change. Everything changes. All right. I have to bring out my sheet because I forget which washi this is. And for those of you who have been on lives with me, you know that I have a little swatch book. And one of the things that I swatch in my swatch book is washi tape. Okay, Botanical Rhapsody. I was going to say that too. Botanical Rhapsody. Right there. All right, Botanical Rhapsody washi tape. Oh, yeah, that's one nice. Washi with the green leaves and gold dots. I don't have that one. I'm going to put that on my list, Tina, because I don't have that one, but I really wanted to. I was like looking around, and I have some nice ones, but I have that one that's a die cut. This is the one I was thinking about using, which is that Vibrant Spray die cut tape. I was going to use this, but it's too bright right now. Bohemian Rhapsody, it is, Tina. Tracy, this is Bohemian Rhapsody. Botanical Rhapsody. So I'm going to use this one instead because you know what I'm going to do, and I know I've done this before with you guys, but I'm going to color it. So I'm actually going to cut little strips out, and I'm going to do a strip on the bottom, and I'm going to do a section on the top. And my washi is not, so this is going to be, you guys are going to, I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with this initially, but that's okay. We're going to figure this out together. My washi's not straight, and it's, well, maybe it's not so bad actually. It's a little bit bugging the daylights out of me. So I'm just going to come in, and I'm just going to cut, and I'm just going to trim like a little section off just to get this a little bit straighter. Of course, I'm probably going to make it worse doing it this way. Yes, I am. Well, that's all right. Look at it. I think I just made it worse. Oh, yes. It's so beautiful, Tracy, isn't it? And so that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how can I do this? And I'm like, oh, I can make my own. That's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make my own colored washi. That's what I'm doing with this sucker. All right. So I have the month of May, and I want to go about a third of the way up with this. And then I'm going to go a third of the way down. And of course, this washi tape is so big because it's massive. It's just really wide. I could cover this entire page. I really could cover the entire page. Should I cover the, yeah, let me just cover the whole page. I'm doing it, guys. I'm just doing it because it's so big. Oh, this is going to be ugly. All right, so what I'm doing right now, washi, of course, it's always a little bit tricky because it likes to, washi has a mind of its own sometimes, and it likes to go where it wants to go. So I'm going to, as I unfurl it, I don't want to leave a lot. I just want to leave a little bit of an edge. And what I'm doing as I place this down is, where is it going to be? So I'm just going to start this way. There we go. So I now have it adhered to one side. And now I'm going to go, oh, Leafy Dreams. All right, I'm going to check that one out, Tina. I have to put an order into Altenew, so I'm going to put that on my list. There was one on there that I wanted that was green and gold, and I think that might be the one that I wanted. Okay, here we go. Hi, Nancy. This is the washi tape. Nancy, the washi tape is coming out again. I remember that when I was doing this on that other live, and you were like, I do not do well with this tape. I'm sorry. I'm haunting you with this tape, Nancy. All right, here we go. All right, so you can see I'm just doing a little bit at a time. I'm just trying not to get any creases in here. And I don't have my pen knife with me. It'd be super awesome if I had my pen knife. That's in another cabinet across the room. Not going to work, but I'm getting close. All right, so you can see I'm all over this. So I'm going to grab my scissors here. These are very, very fine tipped, and I'm going to use them kind of like a knife, I think. Here we go. So I'm just getting it right into that crease, and then I'm just going to come in, and I'm just going to cut. And then I'm going to delicately pull my washi out. Oh, super pretty. Okay, so let's see what I did. Okay, so pretty. Or I can start from the center and go out. That would be smart, Anne, because that's why we have you here, because you're the smart one. All All right. So now I'm just going to take this little section. I'm just going to cut this right off. I don't want to curl this around because I don't want this washi tape to be part of my next page. I only want it to exist on this page, which is why I cut it off right at the edge. And I know my paper's curling, but I don't know why it's curling. So I wonder if I can just get it down. It should be fine. No idea why that's curling. Okay, hopefully because it's in a book, it shouldn't be a super big deal. Now, what I want to do, because I want to stick with this kind of, stick with this idea of blue, because I think about May, I think about blue. I don't know why. I probably should be thinking about pinks or things like that, but I think about blue. So I have a whole bunch of, it's gorgeous, right? So Tina, the flares will not work with this. And the contact paper covering skill. Tracy, they taught us in teaching school how to use contact paper on things. No, I'm just kidding. This would not work with the flares because of the fact that these are more water-based. So I could probably use them, but they are gonna, actually they do work. They do work. They do work. I could use them like that. I liked using the alcohol markers because I feel like they would stick. I wanted to try, and I know Altenew just came out with like all those sets of the dual, the pens. I probably wouldn't use these because these are also water-based, and this is kind of oily. So although I got to say that flare pen kind of stays. That does stay. Let me try these out and see how they work. That's lifting a little bit. It's not bad. That actually will stay. You can see that that's orange, maybe? Okay. Again, you have to kind of let it dry. And yeah, I agree, Tina. Yeah, and I agree. So we've had suggestions about what kind of pens to use. Because this is slick, the alcohol markers, if you have any sort of alcohol markers, that's going to work okay. If you end up using water-based markers like these fine brush pens, or if you use the flares, or even ballpoint pens or highlighters, like I have these zebras, if you use any of those, you're just going to have to make sure that you let it dry a lot before you move it. And you notice that I was kind of like moving it around, moving the ink around with my finger. And that was just to make sure that it wasn't beating up, because that's going to take longer for this to dry. All right, so now that I have the washi on here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to color a little bit. So I'm just grabbing pinks, I'm grabbing blues, and when I use this, I don't necessarily color every single flower. I'm really just giving like a hint of color to the areas. And you can also do a little bit of spotlight coloring where you don't have to color every single thing, but you just kind of choose just a couple of the flowers or just a couple of the leaves and kind of highlight those with some color. Because this print is already gorgeous, but what we're doing is just putting in like a little bit of like ghost color, just a little bit. That's the way I think of this. Just a little bit of color. I do tend to go darker because I know that these will dry back light. And I also try to go a little bit brighter. So like you saw this is the grapevine, which is fairly dark. So this one is rubellite, which is a bright pink. So you can just see the difference with that. You can see it kind of beating up, but these will dry faster because they're not water-based, but because of the fact that they are alcohol. So that will go a lot faster. I have here the Northern Shore set, and I have just been absolutely in love with these. In fact, I'm going to be I need to do a live on these because these are absolutely gorgeous. This blue. Love this blue. I'm noticing it blends so well with so many other colors. I'm really, really in love with it. I think it's fabulous. Love it. And it's always fun to color. Like, coloring is that thing I think that always helps us. Yes, you got to do the highlight level. You got to do the highlight method. I think if you sit here and color it all in, it's too much. But give that little hint of color, and that way, because I think the beauty of this washi specifically is that you have all of this detail, and just add a touch of color, kind of like a hint of color, and that is going to help you a lot. And you'll notice, like, even just the light pink there looks beautiful. You can see now how those darker colors are kind of drying back as they dry back. So this is a very light pink. This is frosty pink. And let me just show you here. Hint, hint, hint of color. So I'm just coming in really just like, I think I focus on where you would have darker color. So where there's centers, edges of petals, that's where I'm adding the color in. I'm not really adding in color everywhere, and I'm allowing a lot of that detail and that white to stay. So Nancy, get this out again. See if you can try it. Let me know how it goes with it. It really is a pretty washi. And over a card or in a scrapbook, this really looks beautiful. It really, really does. All right, green. So I got some green here, the Green Valley. So let me throw these in. And where's my other ginkgo? Here's another ginkgo leaf. But again, I just wanted something that was a little bit on the bright side. This is also fast because of the fact that we're just adding sections of color. We're not doing everything. You're just adding little bits of color. And I think that helps it to go a little bit faster. So Nancy, what do you think about that? You think that this is something you can, I hope this makes more sense to you now for what we were talking about. All right, I'm going to come in. I love to do eucalyptus. Like, I love that color of eucalyptus leaves, and I usually use Seashore. And so I'm just going to add these in. And if you want them to be more green, what we can do, so you can see that little bit of hint of blue. So you can take a very light green and just go over that, and it will blend it because we're on the wax, this waxy part. So just add a little bit of green. So we got a little hint of blue and a little bit of green. That's there. Tracy, can you ask that question again? BG clear on it or frosted or white? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the washi tape for that one? Let me know. I can answer that. All right, so now I got to figure out where am I putting May and how am I putting my May on this. And I was thinking about just doing this as like sections, but now I have this whole thing. So what I'm going to do instead, oh, good, Nancy, let me know how it goes. Go ahead and post that in the fan group, and I would love to see how you did. Okay. All right, I think I'm good. I want to get some nature. I have some Nature's Wonders here, and I'm just going to go ahead and do just a couple of leaves with the Nature's Wonders. This is gorgeous green brown. That's just beautiful. Asking about the background. The background is it's transparent. The background is transparent. So clear, I guess. Background on it, transparent, frosted or white. It's transparent, but frosted white. Frosted white? Yeah, frosted white. There you go. Like you can still kind of, it's translucent. I guess we'll go that way. It's translucent. So the light will still pass through it, but it's frosted on that one. I hope that helps, Tracy. I hope that helps. All right, let me do this guy. And I wanted to come in with a nice bright red. So these little berries, There's not a lot of area because they're mostly black. So I'm just going to come in with just a very bright red. And I am literally just touching that color down to get that on there. Okay, I think I'm good. All right, so there's my page. I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'm going to move over to this section, and we're going to do a little stamping on here. So like I said, I'm just going to let that dry. But I really was, again, thinking about something super nice for May. Now, I have this little section because when I use this washi tape specifically, because it's so big, what I tend to do is I have extra sections. So what I normally do on this side is I actually separate this in half, and I'll put up literally a section of what my monthly intentions are, and then I just put in a piece of explaining that these are my monthly intentions. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this here. So this is just my little scrap piece, and I'm just going to go ahead and just push this. It's not straight because nothing in my life is straight. There we go. That's better. All right, so that's, again, my little scrap piece. I've had that forever. I'm not going to end up coloring this in because I do want to keep it black and white, but I'm thinking I'm going to grab some trim of washi and just going to grab some trim just to kind of give it a little bit of color. You see how this looks. There's that mint. And here we go. I'm almost there. Looks cute, right? Thanks, guys. All right, so I just have a little piece here, and I'm just going to add it just to kind of finish this off so it doesn't look like it's floating. And this is where I love those different sizes of washi. So I get, thin, I get thick, a little bit different. I also can cover up my little section over here that's a little messed up. All right, there we go. I have a section over here that's gouged, so I just put that on top of it. And this is bothering me. So let me take that section off. There we go. All right, so pretty. And then what I'm going to do is come in. I'm not going to do it here because I think that would be distracting, but I am going to do it over here on the top and the bottom of this. And it just gives it a little bit of color. That's also why I'm not coloring in this panel, because I'm using the thin washi to add color to this section. Okay, there we go. So pretty. Okay, so now that's all done. All right, so let's just take a look. So again, this was just kind of my border for this. So we now we're going to actually put in what the heck we need. So let's do that now. I'm going to grab my Brushstrokes Alpha. Now, if you're, I'm still in the process of learning like brushed writing. And so I eventually want to kind of teach. I actually want to have that writing in my book, but today is not that day. So I have this Mega Brush Alpha set from Altenew, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp these in, and I'm going to use pure graphite. We've talked about this before about how I don't always like to stamp with black because black is so severe, but by stamping with the dark gray, it really helps to set that where it's not so super severe, but it still has that nice dark effect. And I think it's going to go well with the washi that I have here too. All right, so I'm going to write monthly intentions, and I'm just going to, because this set is kind of big, I'm just going to do the M and the I. So I'm going to do those together if I can find the I. Here it is. Now that's the J. Here's the I. All right, so I got my I ready, got my M. What I've learned is that when I stamp on this, because on this side of the book it curves down, and thank you to Tracy for the recommendation, is I usually use a box or something that has a little bit of weight to it. And I'm trying to find that right now. And it may actually be my stamp wheel and a book. I think that's what I'm going to use because that's what I got. All right. So that just gives me a little bit of some space. And so that way it makes it nice and solid for that. All right. So I'm going to do my M. And you do get kind of a one shot at this. So make sure you are ready for it. So that's my M for monthly. And then I'm going to do the I right under it. And I'm going to keep these out because I'm going to do May. And I'll show you guys what I'm going to do May. Because obviously I can't stamp over there because there's a lot happening. So as I'm doing this and as you're doing this, think about what do you want your May to look like? When it's May 31st and you look back at the month, what happened? Pretty much is what I'd like you to think about. So what happened during that time? Okay, I need scissors again. So I have some scrap paper right with me. And while I have out this stamp set, I'm going to go ahead and stamp May. And then I'm just going to cut it out and I'm going to paste it on. That was my plan. You can hand stamp these. And since May is only 3 letters, I'm going to use the Mega Brush Alpha for it because it's only 3 letters. And I want it to have some weight to it to kind of balance out with what the heck is going on over there. All right, here's the A. When I do this, I kind of think about how those are going to connect, and I can actually connect these, which is really neat about this. You just have to be kind of deliberate, if you will, and kind of have a plan when you stamp this. But they will actually flow into each other. So you can see how those are connected. Yep, plan, cut, adhere. Well, planning does not always help. Sometimes I don't plan things. But I always get out of it. So there we go. All right, so here's my Y. And I got to go up a little bit because I didn't realize, because I didn't plan for it, that my Y is a little long for my paper. But that's okay. All right, so there's my May. All right, so now that I have May, I'm actually going to cut this out. I'm going to see what it looks like with this on it. That actually looks really cute. I'm going to trim this down, not all the way. I just want to make sure that I have some straight edges. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. With authority. Okay, so that's that. In order to kind of have this go and kind of connect to the other side, I'm just going to grab some washi and just put this right on top of my page, my little section here. Oops. Oh, I'm cutting that section off. All right, there we go. Okay. So I have a little section here that needs the washi, but I'm just going to trim this so we don't have to worry about it. Not a problem anymore. Oops. So I can put this here, but it doesn't work. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and put it up in the corner. So I'm just letting it kind of connect so those will have the same. And I'll show that to you when I adhere it. I'll just let that kind of hang up. All right, so now I'm going to grab that Concord & Ninth, that perfectly penned stamp set. In fact, actually, I'm not going to do this. I'm actually just going to write these in. So I'm going to grab, this is the Hawaiian Shores and set. So I have the Hawaiian Shores set, and they have a jet black in there. So I'm just going to use the fine tip of this. However, I do need to write this out because I have misspelled this before. If Helen's on with us, she's the one who caught my misspelling. And so I need to put this on because I misspelled this last time. Okay, so I have a little paper. You can't see it, but I just wrote it out because I always have to think about what I'm going to write. So I'm going to use just block printing. And I like to mix calligraphy and block printing. I like to mix those typefaces because I think it looks kind of neat. And I'm just using the dots in order to guide what I'm doing. A little bit faster, a little bit easier to do that. Okay, so that's my monthly intentions. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my gray pen, and I'm just going to draw a big box over here. And this is kind of tricky. So this kind of becomes important, and it's okay if you're like, you know what, I'm not going to write this in right now. I just want to set up the page. Give yourself a week to think this through as to what it is that you actually want to put in here. What are the things that you're going to focus on? Now, in the months past, we've had up to 3, and I would say 3 is probably big. Sometimes I've had 1, sometimes I have 2, sometimes I've had 3. And that's where you really want to think about, what is it? What do you actually want to put there? What is it that you want to do? So I'm just going to grab a little bit of washi because I realized I don't have a stamp. I didn't grab that stamp out. I am just going to grab little sections of washi to make bullet points. So I'm just going to cut, and you'll see what I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to cut little tiny squares. Okay. That is my bullet point. I'm going to make 3 bullet points. 2. This is my next bullet point. And then, yeah, thanks, Alicia. I think it's definitely, I like journaling. I like some place that I can look back and reflect because I forget a lot of things. So if I don't have that opportunity to look back and say, no. So this has actually been a great opportunity and has afforded me well to do that. So, all right. So again, you don't have to have anything fancy. I just use and cut little squares of washi tape, and that's my bullet points. I'm actually even going to come in with a little turquoise on here, and I'm going to do a little green, and I'm just going to do a little bebop dot right in the middle. Going to go for tone on tone. That was a little light. There we go. Just a little dot. So it just kind of helps it. There you go. So now I just have to sit here and think, all right, what am I going to do? I know one thing I wanted to do this month that I've been kind of missing out and not doing is to be present. And that's really super hard to track. I don't know how to track that, but it's something that I want to remember. So I'm going to set that as one of my intentions because I have a tendency to get overwhelmed, and I'm not I just have to pull myself back. So that one was a big one, is to be present. The other thing I need to do is every night I need to make a list of the things that need to get done the next day. And that I can track, right? I can track that. So I can put in here or use my other book. In fact, I was going to introduce my other book to you guys, which I used to stamp on. This is my planner. This is my big, huge planner that I write everything out in here. And that I'm like, okay, meetings and things that I got to do. So that's where I live in that book. This is kind of my book for me to set the other things out. But that's what I need to do is each night set up a list for the next day. That was a big, huge thing that I want to do. I'm not sure about the third one. It probably has to do with exercise because that is a big goal for me. And when I say exercise, I mean walking. Because I am very early in my journey here. Exercise 15 minutes per day. And it doesn't have to be anything, but that's something that I can track. And that's what you want to think about when you set up these intentions. You have to be very specific, and it has to be something that is tangible and that you can track. Like I said, being present, not tangible. I can't really track that except if I track my mood. The other things I can track. It's very specific. And that's what you want to do when you set up your intentions, is they have to be very specific. All right. So I'm going to put the date in here because I did not do that, or the year rather. 2023. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add that in. So, and that is our page, kids. So I will now review. Look at that. I did that in an hour. I'm getting so much faster. I just want to point that out, how fast I'm getting. I am using a dry adhesive with this because of the fact. Ooh, I like it down in this corner. Ooh, I like it there. Right? Nope. I'm going to put it up here. I like it up here. I am getting faster because I'm learning what works for me and what doesn't. Yeah. Yes, and stretching. Thank you, Tracy. I'm going to add that into exercise and stretch. And stretch every day. Okay. So those are the two things that I'm doing. Yeah. Thanks, Anne. So let me just show you what we got accomplished today. So we set up our tracker for this week. So this is our last week in April. And I encourage you to set up your tracker to set up your intentions for May, because this is where you're going to be. So when I see you next week, we're going to go ahead and set up our week for May. Also, because I want to talk about that being present. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to photograph. I'm going to try that, Alicia. I think I like the bottom right too. I just wasn't sure if it was too heavy with this over here. I do like that because it lets you see the pattern. I'll keep it there. Good call, Alicia. Because I want to, how do I track this be present? I'm actually going to kind of take photographs of my life, and I'm going to document my days. So I'm going to set this up a little bit different. And I bought a tiny printer. It's called a Canon Selfie, and I have it still in the box. I haven't pulled it out, but I'll show you guys next week. And I encourage you to do that too. You walk around and you just take a picture a day. What is it that's in your life? And that's going to help you to be present. So I'm going to try that. All right. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this hour. And thank yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back right now that you just gave yourself the luxury of an hour for you, an hour for your crafting, an hour for you to set up your life. And it's something that is really important and will have major dividends. So you paying yourself has major dividends in your life and to the people around you. All right, so I'm gonna, I hope to see you all next week. Please share this if this has been helpful for you. Please share this out, and I hope to see many of you have an absolutely fabulous week and an absolutely fabulous month of May. All right, everybody, thank you.